I don't want to get emotional with this, but we all live with pain. We all have a history. We all have a story. Suicide, no suicide. And I think the biggest thing that I still struggle with is the level of adversity that I've had to experience from the very beginning.
Hey there, my name is Sean, and this is Suicide Noted. On this podcast, I talk with suicide attempt survivors and ideators so that we can hear their stories. Every year around the world, millions of people try to take their own lives, and we almost never talk about it. We certainly don't talk about it enough. And when we do talk about it, when we engage with people in pain, we're not very good at it. So one of my goals with this podcast is to have more conversations, and hopefully better conversations, with survivors, in large part, to help more people in more places hopefully feel a little less shitty and a little less alone. Now, if you are an attempt survivor or ideator and you'd like to talk, please reach out. I'd love to talk with you. hello@suicidenoted.com. You can learn more about this podcast on Apple or Spotify or our website, suicidenoted.com. How you might want to get involved, if that is a financial contribution, volunteering, or in some other way. Have a look, reach out, let's get the conversation started. Finally, we are talking about suicide on this podcast. My guests and I do not hold back. Please take that into account before you listen or as you listen. But I do hope you listen because there is so much to learn. Today, I am talking again with aka Ariel. This is, of course, an update episode. Ariel lives in Oklahoma, and she is a suicide attempt survivor. The woman who goes by A. In Oklahoma still?
Yep, still in Oklahoma.
4 years ago, dude.
4 years, man. I was just thinking that almost to the day is when we actually spoke for the first time.
And you were saying before I forgot to hit record, but here we are, and you jumped right in that you're going through a divorce and
we weren't legally married, but we were might as well have been, and part of that is or was due to me still struggling to really face what it is with my ideations or like self-destructive thinking puts me in those situations to go or make myself want to do something like that. And this situation, I mean, I was so close to dying that I remember in my last interview with you when we did the podcast, I talked about something about, it never being too late. But in some ways it's true. And in other ways, when it's too late, it's too late. I realized if I can't vocalize what I'm feeling or if I can't be around individuals who are able to understand, it just makes life a little bit easier. I have to remind myself that it's on me. I'm the one who makes those choices. Everybody, in my life plays a part. There's accountability that needs to happen on all sides, it's definitely been interesting for 4 years. I'm actually graduating from school in 3 weeks. That has been a huge hurdle for me. Obviously going through the split. I work nights, so I'm constantly on the go. So while I feel like I'm in a good space and probably in the best space that I've been in the last, since August, I think part of it is just that I haven't had a chance to really sit with it and fully embrace it. And so over the last couple of weeks, as I started preparing to move and stuff and had more time at home to really sit down and have that reflective moment, a lot of those thoughts kind of overwhelmed me. I was very, very emotional. It just kind of started to sink in a little bit, and taking accountability for my side and my choices when I make a choice to try and harm myself. It is too late when it's too late.
Ariel, right away, right off the bat, memoir title. It's too late when it's too late. Are you? I mean, it doesn't need to be your memoir title, but that's a memoir title. So I want people to know that we first talked several years ago. I also know that last fall, in an effort to find people who were willing to speak with me and even potentially help me find a location, you were on board at times with trying to find somewhere in Oklahoma City or the surrounding areas to do that. As I was connecting from Kansas City to Dallas, we almost made it happen. We didn't make it happen. No hard feelings there, but what it tells me, you care about this stuff and that you tend to be open. I don't know if that fluctuates, but that you had the attempt in August, that gives me a lot more context.
Mhm.
Given that I was reaching out probably in August and September about, "Hey, can you find somewhere? I'm gonna be there in a
Yeah,
second."
it was not long after that I had heard from you, so it was very interesting to get a notification from you to have a conversation about then and now, because when I first, sat with this, that I would be having an update conversation, it really bothered me at first because I'm like, what else or what new can I share? Other than, hey, I tried to do this again. I think that's the reason why I talk about it's too late when it's too late. There is a point of no return. And even when you do ask for help, I did all of those things and same type of attempt. And,
What is it?
I was told that I took too much of something and I went to the hospital after having a moment of clarity during an episode. And, as soon as I hit the hospital bed, I dropped. I was in a coma for a few days just to regulate my heart rate. And I woke up so much of what I was not expecting. And I think this is so important for people to understand is that there are going to be people that are going to be upset and hurt and angry and feel whatever type of way that they feel during those situations, but your pain is real. You don't owe anybody an explanation for experiencing a mental health crisis or episode.
Mhm.
And
They want it, but it doesn't mean you have the words or whatever else to make it happen. So then what, It's tough.
right, right.
I find myself in a situation right now, and I'm not gonna make this about me, where I have so few people to talk to, and there's a dozen people that would say, "I'd love to talk to you about what's going on." But there's a far smaller number, I'm like, "Yeah, and I want to talk to you."
Yeah,
And then you're like, "What the fuck?
agreed.
What the fuck?" And then you get involved with friendships or relationships, and you can tell right off the bat. It's interesting to me. I don't know how you feel about this. You don't need to do it. You find the truth generally. There's probably some exceptions where it's like you're not talking about how you want to kill yourself. You're talking about small things, a little thing about not feeling
Exactly,
so, and then you can tell how they respond. Let's give them a little latitude. They might be in a shitty mood or whatever, but
exactly,
the way they handle the small conversations, that's a bit of a microcosm for the big ones. So now you've told me everything I need to know. And then they're wondering, well, why aren't we getting closer emotionally? It's like, well, because every time I try to open my fucking mouth, you unwittingly shut it the fuck down.
exactly, exactly. It's not a conversation that you can have with a lot of people and say certain things and them understand. And when you have those people as your partner or your parent or your sibling or any type of loved one, it definitely cuts a lot deeper because I don't blame people for not understanding my mental health. But you're right. It's hard to feel like you can vocalize those things without things going to such an extreme. And I think the biggest thing for me is that just educating myself, being in love with myself, being able to save myself has been also a huge part of the journey.
I think you're right. People can't sit with it. And then when you're talking about a spouse or a sibling or a parent, different ball game. I get it. right? Especially if you're like day in and day out with somebody and you're acting one way. I'm not saying this is you.
No, you're
All
good.
of a sudden you're acting somewhere else. But where I focus on, not a but, and where I focus on, I'm talking about the small conversation. Because those are the ones that tell me if you can handle the big ones. It doesn't guarantee
Yes.
you can handle the big ones. But if we're at dinner and I'm saying, man, I've just had a shitty day and my sleep has been shit for a few days, and someone's like, tell me more about it. Oh, okay, you're opening it up. I can trust you. If you're saying, and this is common, well, I mean, there's always help. Let's look for a solution or, it's going to get better. It's like, you mean well, but you're not opening up that conversation. I will go to my death, whenever that is, saying, this
Yeah.
is where people struggle.
Yeah.
And you don't realize the signs you're giving somebody. And then, of course, and I'm sorry to vent a little bit, it
No,
ultimately
please.
on you. You're the sensitive one. You're the this. You're the one not trying hard enough. You're the one not getting it. You're a little bit of gaslighting, maybe not that. No, no, no. Sure, there might be some truth to that. Sure, but like, what's your role? What's your part in this? And there are fewer and fewer people. I'm telling you, man, this is why people off themselves. It's not the only reason.
No, you make such an incredible point. Think about individuals with cancer. And when we're given the news that somebody with cancer is about to be terminal, we don't start shaming them. We don't start telling them that you didn't take enough time to do this, or I can't believe you didn't follow through with this. We're getting ready to say goodbye to somebody that we're never going to see again. It's the same thing, when it comes to mental health or suicide. When I feel like I don't feel safe emotionally, I can't open up to you. And I can't tell you, just like you said, the little things, because
You
I
know where
don't
it's,
need you to go into
you know,
panic mode just
yeah.
because I feel shitty.
And every conversation I've had, what's funny? I've talked to now more than 300 people, and they're all unique. They do have this one thing in common. Maybe I'm looking to hear certain things, and maybe I'm getting a self-selected group of people. But I am telling you, one of the things I hear over and over again is that. And you can say all you want, it's my responsibility, or I have to take accountability for building in the right people in my life but that's hard. You're a
You don't
mother,
always know.
working, you're this, you don't always know. It's not like easy to find a group of people or even one or two who can sit with that. You got to get fucking lucky sometimes. Not everybody gets lucky.
That is my life in a nutshell. That is my memoir tile. No, you're not always so fucking lucky.
It's too late when it's too late is now on the back burner.
I
Yeah,
really just make a point to say that because I don't want to get emotional with this, but we all live with pain. We all have a history. We all have a story. Suicide, no suicide. And I think the biggest thing that I still struggle with is the level of adversity that I've had to experience from the very beginning. I went through my process. I've talked to family members who I haven't talked to in years around this time. It's so important to be able to face the past trauma and all of the bullshit that has happened in the past and shut the door on it. And I know that sounds so much easier said than done for having suicide ideations, but it's so important. It's so
yeah,
important for your healing process to be able to wake up in the morning every day and that not be the thing in the back of your mind.
right.
You are not your past, you are not your pain, you are not what you do when you are in the middle of those experiences. I've had a really hard time of letting go.
I wonder what it's doing to your brain or your body or your soul when you're sleeping. And when you wake up, you're going to be facing this shit and it's going to be a shitty day. It's like you're just doing damage. And that doesn't help you to hear that. But I'm not saying anything you don't already know. We're not redoing the first episode. If people want to hear it, it's April 2022. Go back. It was a good conversation. We covered a lot of stuff. Hopefully, I'm a little better now than I was then because everybody's trying to get better at what they do, in the terms of the questions I ask, the way I engage, the way I edit, all that shit. I'll put you on the spot, okay? This is for people who like maybe want to hear the first episode or even to give context to what we'll talk about since we talk. How old are you now?
I will be 35 in May.
So you're about 30, 31 years old. I want to know a
Yeah.
few things, and this is going to be the challenge is that I want a bullet version. So we're talking like 3 minutes, okay?
Okay.
I'll shut up. It's the Ariel show.
I was really hesitant to respond to speaking with you about my previous podcast because I felt like I didn't have a lot to offer. It's been 4 or 5 years now. We did 22, so 4 years. It's been since the beginning of August that I attempted suicide for the third time. That was such a learning experience for me. One, realizing that there is a threshold there. I remember you asking me something about, am I going to make it to 31? If you were to ask me that same question, I would probably tell you, I don't know if I am going to make it to next week.
Mhm.
Because things change and are so fleeting and feel so permanent when they happen that you don't think that you're gonna be able to get out of it. The idea of dying seems so much easier than facing it, and since August, I have had to pick myself up as a single parent. It's been very difficult. I am exhausted. I work, I go to school. I do so much throughout my day that I spend very little time at home, and I don't get a lot of time with my boy. And that will hopefully change here in the next, few weeks because it's temporary. It sometimes feels like a test from the universe. How much am I willing to trudge through to get better? And I think that it goes for the same thing when we are having ideations. How do we go inside and tell ourselves those facts are not real or those thoughts are not real?
I mean, they're real. They're just not necessarily something you need to take action on.
Exactly. They're fleeting things, cigarette smokers will have a cigarette and I'm told that it's between about 2 and 7 minutes from when a person starts to crave a cigarette that the thought changes. The
Mhm.
craving leaves itself or
Mhm.
leaves you and you move on. I'm such a stubborn person that I will sit with things for as long as I can to prove to myself that what I'm doing is reasonable or logical. And I think that when you are that strong minded to self harm, then you are strong minded enough to pull yourself out of that shit.
Mhm.
You're not alone. And there are so many more people that that go through the same things or the same ideas and don't talk about it, and sometimes you have to be the person and take a leap of faith to talk to them. It wasn't until I started getting really honest with myself and with other people that I felt like I was able to nurture more relationships that were more meaningful to me in my life. For people who listen that are not suicide survivors, but next of kin or friends or family members or whatever, it is okay not to understand or feel equipped to handle what a person with mental illness goes through, regardless at what spectrum. You do
Yeah,
not need to understand them to be
correct.
able to hold space for them,
Mhm.
to be able to emphasize the level of safety that they have. And it is also okay to be angry and frustrated at the same time.
So let me give you a weird example that's a little bit of an apples and oranges, but is it possible for a man to empathize with a woman who's pregnant and in pain? I'd like to believe so.
I think so.
Am
Yeah.
I gonna be pregnant? Nope. I mean, I might have gained a little weight. I might look a little pregnant, but I ain't pregnant. I ain't gonna be pregnant,
Right.
but I can empathize. Now
Right.
that's not the same as understanding. Maybe we're playing with words a little bit. but I can be there and whatever that looks like, Is
Yeah.
it the same exact thing as when someone's in a 2-week downward spiral depression? No, of course there are some differences day in and day out, hour in, hour out, especially if you're living together. I get it.
So no more death doula-ing for you?
Oh, millionaires gotta have multiple lines of income, so
For sure. Oh man, millionaire should also be my benefactor. Think about that. Number 2, I did roll through OKC because it was right through KC to Dallas.
I know, I hate
And
that
I
I
saw
missed you.
Nah, it's cool, but I did see the memorial, which was interesting and pretty powerful. And then because I'm a
It's
sports fan, I rolled by the OKC Thunder Stadium, driving down that downtown area. Kind
that
of
that
like,
memorial is heavy. The
yeah.
memorial is heavy. You feel the weight.
But you didn't answer my question. Remember, my question was, I want to know how you got from birth to 40 to 31 when we first talked in 3 minutes or less.
I was born in a very impoverished and not good environment. My mother was an addict. I was born already dealing with withdrawals. The earliest memories that I have, unfortunately, are of me being sexually molested and my mother having a massive stroke before she died. And at the time, we were laying on a one-bedroom apartment or house with broken windows. And when she passed away and we moved with my dad, he really tried to keep us from allowing those things to happen to us just due to the level of work that he had. He had to work. He was not around, and it made me vulnerable to and susceptible to, being assaulted happening again. So it happened several times over the years up until my 20s. And then when I'm 20, I get into a situation with a person who I think is just a drug addict like me. And we're going to do drugs together, and I'm going to get free drugs, and everything's going to be great. And the person that I was actually talking to was grooming me to be trafficked. The fact that I was able to make it out of this car, or the fact that they even drove me home and didn't come back, is a fucking miracle.
Absolutely. I also remember from our original talk something about you being on a bus.
I I was that bus. Oh man, I think about that bus a lot right now.
Yeah, like it was like the last stop of.
Yeah, yeah. I think I get emotional hearing that right now because it's a literal metaphor of telling somebody, You can get off the bus. You can get off the bus."
3 suicide attempts in total, including last August, right?
Yes.
How old were you for your first one?
25. The second attempt, I was 30.
So not too long before we probably talked.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't really call the second one an attempt as much, just severe self-harm.
Did
And
you,
then I attempted in August.
and any
It just so happened that the day that I attempted was a death anniversary
mhm,
that I don't talk about, but it
mhm.
was all I'll say is that I was expecting to have a daughter and didn't make it to the end of my pregnancy.
In all that time, did you spend any time in hospitalizations, whether it's more of like a
Yes.
detox or psych unit? How many times have you been there?
Since my third attempt, including rehabs and psychiatric facilities about 6 or 7 times. I'm 34 and I am rounding the age that my mom was when
Mm,
she passed away. And it is sinking in for me that while I have learned a lot and have found a lot of spirituality within my attempts, I can't repeat the cycle.
mhm.
Something different needs to happen. Something else needs to change. And I think that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in a tough place. I'm emotional. I'm starting a new chapter of my life, but at the same time, keep doing the fucking work. I remember in my first episode, I made a point to say that I took things in moderation to give me a healthy state of mind, and if that is a bottle of medication that your doctor prescribes you, that you take appropriately, take the fucking medication. Go to the fucking meeting. Just talk about the thing. Don't let it hijack you.
Did you ever get a diagnosis from the doctors I imagine you've seen that you think is correct?
I know I have severe PTSD,
Mhm.
bipolar, and major depressive disorder.
Okay.
Uh,
Those are challenging to all work together because the medications will help with one but hurt the other. And how many meds do you take, if any, to deal with that?
I take a total of about 4 or 5 medications.
Okay. Do you find it?
And at
Yeah.
the time that we first spoke, I was not taking any. There, regardless of if it's homeopathic and holistic or if it is a prescribed medication, there is a therapeutic dose for every single person. And when you find that, it is not the button that solves all your problems. It is the button that gives you the option to change some shit.
Gives you a chance. Do you remember back in whenever it was 2020, 2021, maybe after, why or how you stumbled upon this podcast wanting to talk about this stuff?
I pulled up the podcast the first time because I knew that while I had tools to cope and heal, those tools weren't working for me then. It's taken me a really long time to admit, as I said before, that I can do something different. I think I'm in the same situation now. I've been busting my ass for to work in school and all of those other things. And just as I've said in the past, when I'm not taking care of myself and reflecting
Right.
on what is hurting me, it's not going to change.
Do you remember why it is that you wanted to talk to me then and or now?
I wanted to talk to you then because I felt like there was not a person that I could truly tell my story to and would listen without judgment. And also because I really do want other people to hear something from what I said in that podcast and hopefully put whatever's in their hand that may end their life down.
And what about today?
Today is a great representation that it's okay not to be okay. You can be in pain and not want to hurt yourself. You can be in pain and stop yourself from making a decision, a temporary or a permanent decision to a temporary situation. Just keep fucking going.
You know what you said, we talked about a lot of things. I pick a blurb out, right? It's the beginning of each episode. Somewhat arbitrary. I'm going to read to you what you said. The one I happen to choose. The clock is ticking. My son is still in Utah. My son is not with me. There's the bomb that's ticking on the top of my head and still is to this day. Now, that was about 4 years ago. How do you feel about that now? I don't know what's going on with your son. You mentioned him a little bit.
My son is still in Utah, but we've made a lot of progress. He is actually going to be flying in for my graduation ceremony. So I get some time with him. It breaks my heart. It kills me that things didn't happen sooner. I feel like the last 10 years have not been for nothing on my mental health journey. I'm sacrificing the childhood years for years that I'm gonna be able to help support him in his life, is gonna make so much more of a difference than things being okay, just okay.
It's still hard.
There's always gonna be some kind of clock. I mentioned a small snippet of talking about my death dual work and the 9 contemplations of death, one of the things is that, and I'll kind of summarize it, but it's that we won't get to do the things we want to do with our loved ones, or won't have enough time to get something done, and you can't take it with you. I'm in a lot of pain and have suffered from not having my son with me, and that's
Mm,
hard, but when I go, I can't take it with me. Everything is gonna be right where it was, whether you wake up and come back to it or you succeed and don't come back. The only thing that changes is that the people that love you have to now cope and adapt without you. I know the pain of having to deal with that without having people that I love in my life that are now gone. Think about those things. Know that you're loved. People want to hear from you. We talk about trauma dumping and not talking about suicide, or not saying things like in the AA rooms about shit that people who haven't experienced it are not understanding of it, I guess. Sorry, I'm losing my thought. People want to hear what you have to say. Even if you don't want to bother them,
mhm.
because they would rather be talking you out of doing something that you don't really want to fully do than having to put you in the ground.
Let me ask you a few questions about since we talked, okay?
Okay.
Do you remember if you listened to our episode?
I actually knew we were going to be talking, and I listened to it about 3 or 4 days ago.
Oh, that's the first time. Well, wow, okay. So it came out, you didn't see it, okay. What was it like 4 years later to hear your voice, what you said, how you sounded?
I'm struggling right now mentally and emotionally to keep up with my mental health. At the same time, I am the first person in my bloodline to go through addiction and get clean. And I am the first person to graduate from college. Not only am I graduating, but I am on the honors program with the dean.
Mhm.
I'm graduating with a 4.0 GPA.
God damn.
And I'm moving into a new space. As I said before, it's okay to be okay, not to be okay, and get shit done. It's a lot easier to just quit than it is to reap the benefits of life when you're just able to shut the fuck up a little bit. And then
Mhm.
I say that so bluntly because get the fuck out of your head. Do something that is going to make your life a little bit better. Do something that's going to help somebody else feel a little bit better. Get
Mm.
out of your head.
They're trying. So if you only listened to it a few days ago, I imagined our conversation was never shared with other human beings.
I actually was very open recently with my classmates. I took a leave of absence after my attempt. I did it because I heard so many of them make comments about their own mental health, and it was the only way to really be open about this is why I am the way that I am, and this is why I don't go out to lunch with everybody when everybody goes. And this is why I don't have a smile on my face when I'm socializing. This is why I can't have superficial conversations sometimes.
Mm.
Um, I actually saw one of my classmates yesterday, and it was the greatest feeling to see and just feel the difference between then and now from having shared it with them. So I still stand by a lot of the ideals that I spoke about in the podcast. I think I just feel more open about talking about the details, and also, I don't know what experience I had when I was about to go one way or the other when I made that attempt.
I want to know upon reflection, if there's any regrets or negative experiences because of speaking with me.
No, I don't regret anything. I think I was at a proverbial crossroad when I first spoke to you, and I think you did save my life. I think your podcast made a huge difference in finding some internal strength. Right after we spoke the first time, we went through, my partner and I actually split up for almost 2 years, and we did get back together. We're kind of in the same situation now where we're not together anymore. If I hadn't spoken to you so confidently about I made it through that shit, I don't think that I would have the mental strength to have stood up for what I believed in and be heard and speak my truth. And I did. And right or wrong, responsible or not, that's the first time that I've been able to stand up on my own 2 feet and stick up for myself. I didn't have to ask for help because I was able to help myself.
Do you ever listen to the podcast now?
Not as much. I will let it play in the car. The only time I actually really listen to it is it's weird. It's when I'm not ideating.
What percentage of time is that?
It just depends. It can be a 50-50 thing, and that's okay. It's just a thought.
Well, we got on at about 1 p.m. Were you ideating at noon?
No, I definitely was reflecting about the conversation.
I know you had one attempt in August. It's the only one you had since we talked. I'm wondering if
Yes.
anything has shifted in how you think about suicide in general or your own attempt or attempts. A bit of a weird question, but do you think about it at all differently?
100%. It changes every time. You know, I had a real out of body spiritual experience during this attempt, and I can't explain what I experienced into words. I know things will be all good when it is my time, but I've started to detach from it more and more. Suicide. It doesn't have to always be, I don't know how to say it. It doesn't always have to be the route you take. It doesn't always have to be the center of the thing that's in your mind. Be okay if you're like me and killing yourself to make ends meet. Take the same amount of energy and use that to take care of yourself. Have some fucking fun in your life. Be okay with laughing. Call the person that you haven't talked to in years and tell them that you're sorry. As a doula, I spoke about being able to celebrate your life. You can do that now, and you might find a little bit more value wanting to stick around.
Well, I guess that kind of is the same as me asking, are there myths or misconceptions you want to dispel? That's sort of one of them right there. How many people do you have? I don't know what the answer was then, but I always ask, how many people can you have a real conversation with this stuff about? You referenced it earlier. I know the number's not high, but where you feel okay during the conversation and you can talk about suicide.
I just recently met a friend who lost a cousin who passed away, and you can tell it was difficult for them to talk about it. They did something for me in a very non-conditional way that helped me get back on my feet with where I'm at now. I think it helped us both, just being able to talk about it. I feel more comfortable opening up about it.
What helps you feel less shitty?
Having fun, giving myself permission to do things that don't always have to be about work or school or kids or whatever. It doesn't have to be a priority. Now is never a good time. Time is an intangible construct that we were given to surpass the limits of our own mind and body so that we can keep the world going round and round. So do something that is going to give you a little bit of just value and happiness, and just don't be a part of the matrix. Don't be on autopilot.
Red, blue pill, and now you're transitioning to my pink, purple pill. I don't know if I asked you this back then. Pink and purple pill, I give it to you, you go to sleep, you don't wake up, there's no pain, nobody knows it's a suicide. What would you do with it when we first talked? What would you do with it right now? It's a weird question.
If I'm being really honest with myself, I would give it back. I don't want to die today. I don't feel like killing myself today. I don't feel like hurting myself. I felt the same way when I first talked to you. I know that when that time comes, it's all going to be good. There is no pill. There's no button.
I made it up. It won't fix you, it'll kill you.
And that's the hard thing to understand or get in a little bit of realness with is that nobody's coming to save you. You have to do it. You have to pick yourself up.
If you could talk to yourself back when we first talked, is there anything you'd say? I realize that's playing with time and would it really make a difference, but in a magical little parallel universe, is there anything you could say to her that might make a difference? For better or worse, I don't know, just any words, knowing what you know now.
Don't settle. You don't always have to be the nice guy. I would give her a hug. I would tell her that you've come much further than you realize. And I would tell her the same thing, is that nothing is permanent. Be okay with living your life. Not feel so guilty.
What was that memoir title again?
Too late when it's too late.
You had a second one.
Ugly dark shit.
Oh, okay, maybe we could play that in the subtitle. All right, a couple more, and then I know you gotta go. If we talk again in 4 more years, 1, are you alive? And 2, what's your life like? Externally or internally?
I would like to believe that I will still be alive. And I think what will have changed is just feeling stronger every day.
When this comes out, do you think you'll listen to it?
I think I will at some
Mhm.
point. I really wanted to go into this conversation when I started this with you the second time, thinking that I was going to have some profound message or something to leave other listeners. And
Mm.
the truth is that life is going to life. You do not need to be a hero. You can just save yourself. Just by saving yourself, you're helping everybody else around you.
Do you think there's a question I should ask others or you, whether it's for the original conversations or update episodes that I don't ask? Something I'm missing?
What have you done to internally work on yourself? Or what work
Mm-hmm.
have you done to change the cycle or the pattern?
You want to answer it?
You dig your fucking feet in the ground and you crawl your way through whatever fucking shit that you're in and you keep going and you stand up and you save yourself.
Which is what you're doing, right?
If I can do it, I think a lot of others can. It can feel so permanent. It can feel so like there's no other options. But if I can manifest a better life in 4 months for myself, then other people can too. Change the vibration, change the frequency, turn the shit off. Politics are telling us stop worrying about things that you can't control sometimes. Again, give yourself permission to be selfish and not settle or worry about other things that you can't control. It's not your choice. I don't turn the news on anymore. I digest what I can. I don't talk about it. It's the same thing with my ideations. You can turn it off sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I know you got a busy day. I got the keys in the hand, ready to go do your thing I just wanted to make sure we covered things. If there's anything else you wanted to share, please do.
I just wanted to say thank you. While we haven't talked much or frequently over the last 4 years since we first did the podcast, you absolutely have played a huge part in my life and in allowing me to share my story so that when my kids turn the age that I was, when I started experiencing my issues, this is my audio memoir for them.
Needs a title.
I'll
Yeah.
keep thinking on it.
Well, it doesn't have to happen right now, but one day, it's just the way it works. I mean, it could be Ariel's memoir title, Ariel's audio memoir. That's just fine too. Hey, it was good
I
catch.
like ugly dark shit.
Ugly Dog is awesome. I will not refer to you that way because you were none of those things from my perspective, but it was good catching up, man. It was good seeing your face. It was good hearing your voice. I'm glad you're doing.
Likewise.
I know it's hard as fuck, so I'm not gonna say I'm glad you're doing well, but you're doing something, and thank you.
Thank you. I'm grateful I woke up today. Hopefully tomorrow's just the same. Thank you. Really.
You're very welcome, and thank you. I usually say I hope your day's decent, but with you, I'm just gonna say I hope your day's good. Tomorrow too. It's possible, right?
Yes.
Thanks, Ariel in Oklahoma. I hope our paths cross again soon.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye.
Bye.
As always, thanks so much for listening and all of your support. Special thanks to Ariel in Oklahoma. Thanks for speaking with me again, Ariel. If you are a suicide attempt survivor or ideator and you'd like to talk, I'd love to talk with you. Please reach out. hello@suicidenoted.com. You can learn more about us on our ever-changing website, suicidenoted.com, or check out Spotify, where we have a poll, or Apple, where we have ratings. That would be a big help. You can learn more about the podcast in those places as well, or wherever you listen to Suicide Noted. And that is all for this week's episode. Stay strong. Do the best you can. I'll talk to you soon.